This is a common thing that is brought up in the anime community and the Naruto fandom in general, and that is that Naruto wasted the side characters. And before I go any further, let me just bring up the characters and when they were introduced. You have Team Guy with Neji, Tenten, Rock Lee, Asuma's team with Ino Shikacho, Ino Shikamaru, and Choji. Then you got Team Kurenai with Kiba, Hinata, and Shino. And then Team Gara with Gara, Kankuro, and Temari. When were these characters introduced? If you're an anime watcher, Konoha teams were actually introduced in the first episode. They were the students who could complete jutsus and Naruto could not. That's actually not the case in the manga. In the manga, they were introduced in the Chunin exams, along with Team Gara and Team Guy. So this means that these characters were intended to be for the tournament. They were tournament characters. And yes, the Chunin exams is a tournament arc. The most memorable part and the most original part is a tournament. The Force of Death, I'd argue, is a ripoff of the Hunter exams, which this whole thing was inspired by the Hunter exams, along with other things that were inspired by Hunter x Hunter and Naruto. But the Force of Death, that's a complete ripoff of the Force in Hunter x Hunter. But the tournament, Naruto went in a completely different direction, and it did it much better than the Hunter exams. But one thing that Naruto also did better than the Hunter exams was its use of side characters. The Hunter exams, you had Tompa, who became nothing. You had Hanzo, who seemed like a cool character, but, again, became nothing. You had Paco, who was barely there when Paco came back. Paco got bodied. You did have Hisoka, which was a mainstay antagonist. And you did have Killua, which is a mainstay protagonist. Meanwhile, with Naruto, you had those characters that I mentioned, but you also had Orochimaru, you also had Kabuto, and you also had Jiraiya, which all were mainstays. Kabuto and Orochimaru, mainstay villains, all the way up to part 2. Kabuto, by the end of part 2, he becomes crazy powerful. And Jiraiya, who had a huge part in the Pain arc, and one of the greatest moments in the series, to be honest. You know what it is. And Jiraiya is one of the better characters in Naruto. So, and let's talk about the characters themselves. We have Rock Lee, who had his moment here and had his moment in the Sasuke retrieval arc. And in Shippuden, he didn't really have his shining moment. But to say he did nothing in Shippuden is a lie, because he was participating in the Ninja War. He has a participation trophy. And he also tagged along in the Kazekage rescue arc, along with Neji and Tenten. Now Tenten, she got bodied her first appearance. Literally, well, not her first appearance, but her first round in the tournament. Literally, you get their reactions, they're talking, and then the camera pans to Temari and Tenten, and Tenten's on the back of her fan. And didn't even go into depth into how she just got bodied. So that right there, she was never destined for anything, let's be real. But Neji and Rock Lee, they were in the Kazekage arc, along with Tenten. Team Gara, they were in the Kazekage arc. The whole arc took place in their homeland. And I will say that they got bodied in that arc. But to say they weren't there is bull. And Gara, in the war arc, he brought all the nations together. And he was very relevant in that war arc as well. And his character growth in Shippuden was fantastic. It was great to see this little psycho kid transition to a great leader. A leader that's great enough to bring together all the nations and settle aside their differences. So I thought that was a good use of him. Versus Hanzo, who you see him meditating. Hell, even the characters in Heaven's Arena, where they at now? I'm trying to think. And now let's look at another tournament. Let's go to another Togashi tournament, actually. the Dark Tournament, or the Three Kings Saga. Were any of those people? I don't even remember their names because they were that irrelevant. Because they did not come back into the story. You see what I'm saying, people? And also, let's look at the Dragon Ball tournaments. Dragon Ball is close to Naruto as far as utilizing the tournament characters. You had Chaozu, which need I say more? You had Tenshin Han, Tien in America. You had him. He was pretty. He was there, just like Rock Lee was there in the war and there in the Kazekage rescue arc. You see, so I put him and Rock Lee in the same tier. Tien Han, he held off Cell for a few minutes when anime. It was really only like a few panels in the manga. And yeah. And then we got Piccolo, which Piccolo technically is a reincarnation of the villain of the previous arc, which was not a tournament arc. So, I don't know. But Piccolo, I'd say, really was extremely relevant into Gohan's development. He helped Goku go to King Kai. He sacrificed Goku and his brother. Well, he had to kill the brother to go to King Kai and save the world, essentially, and his family. And he was pretty important, Piccolo. But was he Jiraiya important, or even Orochimaru or Kabuto important? It's debatable. But you see what I'm saying, guys. For a tournament arc, the Chunin exam characters were utilized better than most tournament arcs in Shonen. Better than the most popular ones at that. And I think it might also be Kishimoto's fault for basically giving us such lovable characters and such interesting characters, only to really just do that for the tournament. Because Kishimoto didn't have to show us them ever again. He could have just kept them for the tournament, just like Toriyama kept the Bacterian for the tournament, or that Brazilian looking dude with the afro, or that chick who gets naked. He could have just kept them for the tournament. But the fact that he gave Ino Shikacho, Team Asuma, their own arc, essentially. Yeah, the Hida and Kakuzu arc. That was basically their arc. Naruto was off training for the Rasen Shuriken, I believe, that whole time. Naruto was busting his ass somewhere else training, while these guys, along with a couple other members of the Leaf, were fending off Hidan and Kakuzu. And Shikamaru soloed Hidan. And Choji in the war helped defeat that giant statue thing. Ino didn't really do much, but it's a female character in Naruto. Kishimoto, I think he's even admitted that he can't write females. So, but yeah. But what I'm saying is, they were used pretty well. It's not like they were ever part of Team 7 or Team Yamato or Kakashi. And Shippuden did have other side characters introduced that were given shine, like Taka, like Sai and Yamato and whatnot. But I really just think it's people who love these characters and just wanted to see more because Kishimoto made them that appealing and that interesting. Only for really just serving their role as tournament competition for these characters. And that's one thing about part one. A lot of it was a tournament, and these people weren't really enemies. This was really just a large, friendly competition. So, But I will say the Sasuke retrieval arc did give them their shine, and a lot of often, really, their last hurrahs, kind of, for some of them, like Akiba, or even a Rock Lee. But I think we give it a little too much shit for not utilizing the characters, because Kishimoto did go above and beyond other mangakas with his tournament characters. And one thing that I will say is Rock Lee, although he didn't have that crazy shining moment after the Sasuke retrieval arc, he did achieve Jonin, which is a impressive feat for a taijutsu only user, and that means he really just achieved this goal right there of becoming a splendid ninja. And Jonin are considered elite, so he's not the failure that Neji said he was. He did achieve his goal. It was just off screen, but the series is called Naruto. That's like expecting Martin Luther King or Elijah Muhammad shit in a Malcolm X movie. Oh, why don't we get Elijah Muhammad? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's called Naruto. I didn't really expect people besides Naruto to get any shine, but they did. And yeah, man, Neji was wrong with Rock Lee. Rock Lee is not a failure. He wasn't destined to fail. He became a Jonin. Naruto and Sasuke made peace. They broke the trend of their ancestors. Therefore, they broke destiny. They're not tied down to destiny. So yeah, Neji was wrong also. Peace out.